So chapter 16 of the JavaFX user interface controls and multimedia. So in chapter 14 we learned the basic of how to construct the GUI graphic user interface with Java and JavaFX libraries here, framework or library here. And this one is 15. In 14 we just focus on how to make the GUI to show up, to have a nice looking, and how to make a layout to control it, where the location of the object like buttons, text field, things like that, where I want to go to the top, bottom, left, right corner of the GUI spread by using layout like grid pane, vertical V box, right, horizontal H box, and we can do border pane, north, like top, left, right, bottom, center, and so on. And in chapter 15 we focus on meta events. Now after we have nice looking GUI, we can actually set events like click the button, what happens, right? Action, set on action, and then you have to have event listen and handle it, as well as on keystroke from your keyboard. Click each key, we can control it. And also mouse, we can do mouse click, mouse release, left mouse, right mouse click. So just like this, those are the events that created. So we make graphic user interface. Like this is a browser, this is an application running locally, right? So you can move things. And like chapter 14 is all about tabs, those, right, that you can create layout. 15 focus on event like that, and even create animations, flying objects along your page, right? Use timeline, fading out objects, things like that. And now in 16 we just look at the multimedias. So since we are able to draw objects with chapter 14 and make event move objects, resizing them with 15, we can create a lot of animations of the image and pictures. So we still have something that we want to control, which is the multimedias like music and videos. So this chapter 16 is going to talk about that here. Right, you're going to learn how to create the graphic user interface with various user interface controls. Create label text graphic using the label class, right, and explore properties in the abstract labeled class. Right, okay, button with text and graphic using the button class, and set handler using the set on action, right, method in the abstract button base class. Create a checkbox using checkbox class. Create a radio buttons using the radio button class. Group radio buttons using a toggle group. Create text field class and password using the password field class, right? And enter there into them. Enter there into multiple lines using the text area class. Select a single item using combo box, right? Say a single or multiple item using a list view. Select a range of value using scroll bar, right? You can select a range of value using sliders and explore difference between scroll bar and slider. You can develop a tic-tac-toe game, and then we can just use the view and play video and audio using media player and media view. So we just look at more on the UI controls on the object that we need to look at, like checkbox, check, radio buttons, toggle group, text area, combo box, list view, scroll bar, slider, and add the multimedias here. Okay, so we have case study that has the national flag and playing the national anthem. Okay, based on the country flag that we select. And national anthem from each country will play. Alright, so let's look at the hierarchies of your JavaFX controls. So we have the node, parents extend from the node, image view and media view too. And from the parents, we have control extends the parents, which control has labeled, scroll bar, slider, text input control, list view, and combo box base. Right, so you see we have major three things like the control, image, and media. Right, control itself has label, scroll bar, slider, text input, list, and combo box. And the label itself has button based, which is the button, or the label itself with no button. Button itself has button and checkbox and radio button, which under the toggle button, because you have to create a toggle group for radio button. Text input has the text area and text field, and text field has password field under the text input. And combo box base has the combo box. So these are the hierarchies of the UI controls. Now we start to look at labeled and label. Labeled and label. Labeled is the best class of label. So we use label to display the text field, like short text, right? To display text like this, show all down. This is labeled. This is also labeled. A label can be constructed using one of three constructors. There are three constructors. So let's look at those. This an empty constructor, you provide string. You can provide string and the graphics of the node. So create a label with specified text and graphic at the same time. So let's see how we can use this. Create a label with the text and graphics US right there. Now we can set a style with the CSS. So what CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet, which is, we use that a lot in web application or web design websites, which JavaFX support that, like to make it looks nice in the style. Like you can contour the border color. See, so CSS is very simple. It's going to be a property name and the colon and then the values, and separated by semicolon, because you can apply several properties to the label. Like now we want the allow the label border. That means the edges of the text has to be green color, and we can set the how big is that edge, like 2. We call borders, right? The border of the text. 2 is 2 pixels. We can control the style to directly like that to the set style and pass in the CSS information. Separate them by semicolon. Set content display. This is just where you want it to show, right? So this one we make it to show at the bottom of the page. And set text field. Now the actual text color is red. The label that we see text color is red. We look at the second constructors where you can provide the node, which is the circle, and the string of that circle, which is, we now set circle. So we create a label that way. Same, set it to the top, fill the color with orange. We can also create a label through the node, which is the specified rectangle or ellipse. So set the contents to right left. So this is just create the ellipse. Set stroke of the ellipse to green and color of the ellipse to white. So after we create those labels and we set the content display to its own location, we're going to create a stack pane to add all the objects that we just created, which is label 1, 2, 3, and 4. So add all ellipse new label JavaFX. So technically it's going to add the ellipse into the pane, which is stack pane. Stack pane is the stack. It's going to, the one that go first is going to be on the top. The one that's go after is going to be at the bottom. You're not going to see the one that's going first when you push another one. The latest one always show up first. In this case, if you put level 5 is going to show. Right, but this one said, hey, I want to set the content to display. You may start to see this. So these are the things that we created. Label 1, right? 2, 1 is the US flag. 2 circle, 3 rectangle, 4 ellipse. So 1 is US flag, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is what we just create with the label JavaFX on the ellipse text. We just do stack pane dot get student dot add all and add the text to the ellipse. So that's why we see 5 right there. Now we may see we add the ellipse first. This is stack, so that's why we see ellipse at the bottom, and then we add the label on the top of the stack. Right. A pane inside a label. Alright, so now after we had everything, we pretty much just use horizontal box, so that's why you see this layout add horizontally and add all those labels inside the horizontal box and set it to display. Okay, so that's how you use label. Button. We have button is actually extended from button base. Button base has on action as the method that when you want to click the button. Right, so it has the object property, which is event handler, with the action event that handle the action on when you click the buttons. Has the action of the buttons, and they have constructors. So default with string and graphics. So you technically can add image to your button. So let's look at how we use this. So we create text field JavaFX programming. Okay. Pane for buttons. This is horizontal pane, right? So always to right. So button left, button right. So add the images of the button. To do that, we relying on image field. Image field is the one that do images, right? Under animation, we look at the chapter. So we add all the buttons into the button pane and set alignment to center, and we can use CSS to set the style, make it to green. If we have the color here, we see green. Now we see that the bottom part, that is the horizontal box with left and right buttons being added. We see that this create another pane called border pane, and we set to the bottom. That's why this button panes go to the bottom of the border pane. Now we add the text to the center, so the text say JavaFX programming being added to the center of the pane. Right, that's the center, pretty much on the top of the bottom. And add the event